What if the Roman Empire never fell? It's a question that has fascinated historians, dreamers, and storytellers for centuries. The Roman Empire, once the greatest force on Earth, shaped the very foundations of Western civilization. But in our timeline, it crumbled, fractured by corruption, invasions, and internal decay. The lights of classical knowledge dimmed, and the world plunged into centuries of chaos and regression. But what if that collapse never happened? What if Rome endured, evolving, expanding, and thriving into the modern age? Let's explore a world where the eagle of Rome still soars. A united world under Rome. In this alternate timeline, the Western Roman Empire successfully reformed in the 5th century. Corruption was curbed, provincial leaders were brought into a more equitable system, and borders were fortified against Germanic invasions. The Eastern Empire, Byzantium, never had to split. Instead, East and West remained one. By 1000 AD, the Roman Empire spans not only Europe and North Africa, but parts of Asia as well. Instead of fractured nation-states, the world is divided into administrative Roman provinces: Gallia, Hispania, Britannia, Aegyptus, Asia Minor, and beyond. The Pax Romana, the Roman peace, never ends. Generations grow up without the constant threat of war. Trade flows freely on massive stone highways that stretch across continents. Roman law, enforced by a disciplined global bureaucracy, becomes the standard of justice around the world. Architecture and urban life. Imagine a world city built on Roman design. Grand aqueducts span not only valleys but entire cityscapes, carrying water, and now high-speed data in beautifully integrated marble conduits. Amphitheaters host not gladiator combat, but global forums and virtual reality performances. Temples to old gods stand beside synagogues, cathedrals, and New Age sanctuaries, each one protected under Rome's secular pluralism. Public baths are still common, not for hygiene alone, but for social discourse, fitness, and relaxation. Roman civic design, focused on symmetry, order, and access to public life, ensures that every citizen, rich or poor, has a place in the empire's cities. Education, language, and culture. Without the Dark Ages, knowledge never stagnated. Roman engineers, scientists, and philosophers continued their work uninterrupted. Latin remains the universal language, a flexible, living tongue adapted to science, art, and law. English, French, and German exist only as regional dialects. Children across the empire study astronomy, philosophy, mathematics, and rhetoric in state-funded academies. Every citizen is expected to be educated, and oratory remains a prized skill. Classical texts were never lost. Works by Aristotle, Galen, and Cicero became foundations for even greater discoveries. By 1500 AD, steam engine-powered ships. By 1800, the first manned flights in gliders crossed the Alps, and by 2000, Rome had colonies on Mars. Government and society. At the top, the emperor, now more of a symbolic unifier like a constitutional monarch. Real power lies with the Senate and the provincial councils, made up of elected representatives from every corner of the empire. Even former barbarian tribes integrated into the system generations ago. Citizenship is no longer about birth, it's earned through education and civil service. Anyone from a farmer in Numidia to a merchant in Germania can rise in rank and status. Women gained legal rights centuries earlier in this timeline. Some even lead provinces, serve in the military, or sit in the imperial senate. Slavery? Abolished 1,000 years ago, replaced by labor contracts and automation. Technology and science. Without the fall of Rome, the Renaissance happened 500 years earlier. The Industrial Revolution took place in the 1200s. By the 1500s, Rome had developed primitive computers, called cerebrum mechanicum, designed by descendants of Archimedes. Now, in 2025, the empire harnesses solar energy from giant mirror towers in the Sahara. Cities float on oceans, designed with Roman naval engineering. AI assists in administration, predicting political unrest and helping to balance the empire's needs. Roman scientists work with alien signals received through deep space probes. They believe the gods might just be watching after all. Global impact. In this world, war is rare but not gone. Rebellions do rise, often in the outer provinces, seeking independence or cultural preservation. The empire tolerates diversity, but integration is mandatory. The price of unity is the slow erosion of unique identities. Still, Rome's global influence has prevented world wars. There was no World War I or II. No Cold War. Nuclear weapons were never developed. Rome outlawed them long before the technology matured. And without borders in the traditional sense, the concept of country is alien. People identify first as cives Romani, citizens of Rome. The downside of eternal order. But eternal empires come with shadows. Surveillance is everywhere. Order is prized above freedom. Dissent is allowed, but only to a point. The empire is too vast, too complex, and cracks form in even the most beautiful marble. Some ask, has the empire become too powerful? Has humanity traded its soul for stability? Closing reflection. What if the Roman Empire never fell? Perhaps we'd be more advanced, more united. Perhaps we'd be less divided by borders, by race, by wealth. But perhaps we'd lose something too. The chaos of history shaped us. The rise and fall of nations taught us resilience. So maybe the fall of Rome wasn't the end, but a necessary beginning. Still, it's tempting to imagine a world where the eagle never landed, where the empire endured, where Rome still rules.